Okay, so last time we were working on this application, we managed to add different output formats for this CLI. It was a pretty tough day. We could only accomplish one of our goals. So actually, right now, the way the application looks is like this. We are displaying the system information inside panels. This is one of the formats. We're also displaying it in these three kind. Everything simple inside a simple panel, and this last format, which is a left panel, and everything just plain text. So this is the current state of the application. Right now, we are displaying the information in this way, and I realized that I haven't created the init file. Well, I haven't run the init command in OpenCode to create the agents.md file, which is a file that any agent, LLM agent, can read in our application and get context from it. So we're gonna be doing that to start. I'm telling OpenCode the kind of application we are using. Actually, if you just run the dash init command, OpenCode by itself will try to scan your data code, your code base, and then create its own like context. But right now I'm gonna provide it some custom context, so it knows what to do, and it gets improving the way it's giving us, the recommendations and the code generation. So I'm saying that this is a CLI application. It's something like fast fetch but built with C sharp and .NET. What else can we say? This application will uh, manage the different system information like fast fetch does using modules. So please stick to that kind of implementation. Also, use for this application all of the corresponding C sharp and .NET skills and prompts whenever it is convenient to leverage the power of those, how could we say, of those tools. This app, the development aim of this application should be to keep it uh, scalable, flexible, and clean. So any kind of change you apply or recommend should be uh, think in this way. Okay, so let's say that maybe my explanation is not perfect, but it doesn't need to be, just good enough, I think. Yeah, it's trying to find the agent's MD, but it obviously doesn't exist, so it's gonna create its own. Right now, it is reading the code base, as you can see here, and then it's saying that he will create the agent's MD by itself based on his analysis of the code base. So let's give it a few minutes or a few seconds. Okay, so far we're gonna be waiting for this to be done. Okay, so it seems that it started. I created comprehensive HTML for the project. Here's what I included. So it included build test commands, complete set of .NET commands for building, running, and publishing and testing, with notes about adding tests in the future. That's good. I think that's what we will be doing next. Also, creating maybe a pretty basic CI/CD pipeline for whenever we push code to GitHub. So, architecture and design principles emphasize the fast fetch modular pattern. Scalability guidelines focus on separating of concerns, cross-platform support, and extensibility. This is really good. This is what we aim to be doing throughout all the development lifecycle of this application. So, code style guidelines derived from analyzing the existing code base. File organization, lowercase file names, one class per file, namespace and import patterns. Yeah, this is like it checked what I have so far. Like I write most of my classes in underscore. That's not maybe the most common way to doing it in C sharp, but right now I was just doing it this way just to keep it simple and doing it fast. But yeah, maybe we can change to stick with like programs with a capital P. Maybe sysinfo, memory info, helpers, and graphics. All these can be with capitalized. Okay. Invoke and interrupt patterns. Okay, this is something actually Cloud applied. Error handling patterns, graceful degradation, returning or no, formatting patterns, nullable reference types handling and naming conventions, Pascal case for classes and methods, Camel case for locals. Yeah, that's good. And platform specific code pattern template showing the consistent pattern used throughout the code base for handling the different OSs. So development workflows, how to add new system info modules and how to add new output formats. And for best practices, cross-platform development, graceful failures, and all this thing. So future consideration testing, yeah, this is pretty important. Configuration, yep, I want to implement something like JSON configuration, native AOT. So I'm using this application actually to learn. So I have never even read about AOT or native AOT. So this will be something good to check. And benchmarking, I think I would love to implement a simple benchmarking for this application. I haven't done in the past in any of my code base, so I think this will be a great opportunity to do it. And the file is approx 160 lines and provide clear configuration, actionable guidelines, blah blah blah. Okay, so right now we can keep it like that. And let me see if I have the prompt that I prepared. Uh, Review plan. No, I want this one. Yeah. Let me check if the blah 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 blah. Building a faster clone. The implementation. We can proceed. Okay. Yes. Yes. So this is what I'm gonna be passing into open code to cloud. So it implements something like this. I'm building a fast fetch clone with C Sharp and .NET, and I would like to implement the following. I would like to implement a module system in the CLI app, for example, for when a user wants to only add a display, only want to only add or display certain system information, it can do it, and the system is able to manage it. Please give me some recommendation on how to implement this. This needs to be performant and flexible slash scalable. The form then, from the recommendations, we can proceed to a certain implementation. You will not implement or create any code. You will only give me the code examples and descriptions so I can implement it myself. I want to implement also a configuration system to be able to set the configuration in a JSON file. Finally, let me add something more. Finally, put all the no outline. Put all. I'm sorry. Put all the code and the implementation plan along with a in-depth in-depth explanation in a in an MD file so I can follow it. Okay, so the goal is for me to actually implement this, not letting only um, Claude to implement everything. I would love to do it by myself. Why? Because this is not a repetitive task. So normally, when you have something repetitive, you handle it to the AI. But I think that it's worth when you are doing something new, you something that you have never done in the past. It is good that you try to implement it yourself, even if you are like uh, directly reading it from the AI or from the from the AI output. I think that's even better than just saying Claude or Gemini or anything you use to implement it. So that's what I'm gonna try doing. So let me take all of this and let's pass it to Claude. So let me paste it and okay, yes. So let's see what this will be doing. Yep, it's gonna create the implementation plan. That's good. So I really hope this gets to be something clean, something cool, and that I can implement it right like today. It will be pretty cool. If not, then we can continue maybe tomorrow or Monday. But anyways, let's try to get it today. So yeah, it's gonna take some time because I asked it. I think that I asked it for quite a handful of code, the entire module system. I think it will be creating something like the classes, the module classes, the interfaces, maybe kind of a register or a dependency injection class also, because I think that's the scalable way of doing it. Um, Also, I asked it for a an in-depth explanation so that when I am actually implementing it, I know what I'm doing and not just uh, copying code. It will also give me the JSON configuration class, and all of these needs to be flexible and scalable. So I know it's gonna be quite a handful of code what it gives us in that MD file. Oh yes, and it's creating that MD file. Hmm. Okay, yes. I told him to not create or implement any code. Yes, yes. Okay, wow. Actually, look at this. It's 1200 lines long. So it has created the file. That's really good. So the module system implementation guide. So basically, this file contains mm, the architecture recommendation, 5 key patterns. Yeah, like I told you, an interface-based module system, module registry pattern, lazy evaluation with caching. Oh, I think this is really good to keep it clean and fast. Also, async parallel execution, option pattern for configuration, detailed implementation plan for phases, core module infrastructure. Okay, configuration system, execution engine, and advanced features. Complete code examples. Okay, yes, for everything. Module registry, yeah. Auto discovery, module executor with sequential and parallel execution. Event loader, abstract classes for easier module creation. Also, the interface with fully documentation for iModule. Configuration system will be JSON-based configuration with strong typing, default config schema, user config examples, CLI argument override support, and config file generation command. So it's using lazy evaluations for performance, parallel executions, caching strategies, and timeout handling. This is really important. And the testing strategy, yep, unit test examples, integration test examples, and benchmark test examples. Okay, this is awesome. I'm really excited to try these three. Maybe we're not gonna even get any close to this today, but I think this will be great for next week. So for the checklist, the step by step, the performance. So it is telling us that it's compliant with all of this, with what we ask for. Okay, and it's telling us that we will need three NuGet packages, and this is amazing. The configuration one, so it is telling us that we will be needing to um, actually install these three packages. So the implementation order will be core infrastructure. I agree. Convert one module, just one CPU as proof of concept. Okay, that's I think that's cool. Test thoroughly before converting others, and then adding phase two, which will be configuration once I think the all of the modules work, and then optimizing with phase three. Okay, I think that's good. And it is telling us that this guide is ready for us to follow, which I think it is. Okay, so let's go and open VS Code, and I think we can look for the example. Let me go into MD, plan MD. Okay, no, not this plan MD. My projects, download, review. Yes. Let me check the agents MD. I really wanna give it a check. So let me open the preview. So yes, Sharpfetch is a cross-platform CLI system information tool similar to FastFetch. Okay. .NET build. Okay. The run, publish commands, clean, and the testing. Okay, to only test one file and only test one method. This is good. Module-based architecture, scalability guidelines, code style guidelines. Okay, type annotations and nullable, formatting, error handling, invoke and interoperation. Dependency so far, Spectre console and system command line. We're gonna be adding also the configuration NuGet packages in a short. So the workflows, adding a new system info module. Yeah, this is the old way, but now we will be doing something new. Okay, I think this is quite okay. So now let's go to implementation guide. And let me open it here to the right. Sharpfetch module system and configuration implementation guide. This guide provides a complete implementation plan for a modular, performant, and flexible system information framework for our application inspired by FastFetch architecture. Okay, whoops. So the design goals are modularity, performance, flexibility, extensibility, and configuration. Yes, okay. We already read the summary of all this. Yes, the implementation plan. Module abstraction, define iModule interface, create module data, module metadata, and module result. Okay, here's the module interface, right? And yes, and then the module result. I think this will be returned once we try to add any kind of module, maybe CPU module, maybe hardware module. Yeah, great success, great error, and the abstract base module. Modules and module base. Module result, this will be in iModules. Okay, let's try and go for it. Let's create this and call it modules. Whoa, modules. And then let's go again to the implementation guide. Maybe to open the preview. Let's go down. And here this will be imodule.cs. Okay, let's create that im imodule.cs. Let's move this to our left. Let's close this and keep this here. So let's create a namespace. No, it's sharpedge.modules. And then let's create this public interface of iModule. Let's say string ID. We only want the getter. String display name. Same story, only getter. Description for the module, only getter, and no int order getter will by enabled by default getter. Okay, and finally we will define this function, which will be a task of module result execute async. Let's pass the cancellation token equals default. Okay, and then below here, let's create that record module result. So public required string the module ID. We only define the getter and the initial file, initial value. I'm sorry, when we create the instance for this. Public required string display name getter init public bool. Let's call this success as we see here in the right. Public string nullable string of value get init. Oops, public string nullable string for error message and public time spent execution time. Okay, this is good to know how much does our module takes to load. Now let's define the public static classes here to the right. module result create success. So this will run if everything goes well, I suppose. Okay, so string module ID, string display name, string value, and time span. Nope, time span execution time. Okay, I think we can make this something like this: display name, string value, and time span. Okay, to make it more readable. And inside here, we will just yes, new. So here is doing this, then creating the new one, module ID, module ID. So what am I doing different? Value, value, success equal true, display name, module ID, module ID. What once declare a body because it is not marked abstract, extern, or partial. Now let me try copying it and see if I'm doing anything wrong. Yes, it seems so. Create success, string module ID, blah blah blah, time span execution time. Am I missing this? Yes, I was missing that greater than symbol. Okay. So what we're doing here is we will run this create success. We pass the module ID, display name, and value, and execution time for our. If everything goes well here in executing async the I module, when we create it, we return the module result, which will be this. All the data so we can use it. And also let's create one for when things go wrong. Module result, create error, and then string module ID, no, module ID, string display name. It is pretty much the same error message and time span execution time. New will be this, right? Yeah, like this at the right. Yeah, okay, yeah, this. Let me check if this is okay. Module ID, display name, error message, and execution time. Yep. New module ID, the display name, success, error message, and execution time. Okay, this is good. So far, we have created our iModule interface, which will hold the this data. Then it will return a module result when we try executing async the module. We will return the same data along with the error message if it is needed. Also, the execution time on how much time did it needed to load the information. So now let's go and create a new class. Let's call this module base. This will be an abstract class for all of our modules that we create from this public abstract class module base iModule. And let's import this. Let me move this here below. So public abstract string ID, and we only want the getter. Okay, no. Let me remove the auto recommendations or auto completions from Copilot. I want to try writing this by hand, at least to get that muscular memory from it. public abstract string display name. Also, let's get the getter only. Let's define the getter. Public virtual, so it can be overridden the description. Yeah, we want a different description for every module. And let's set it to a default value, let string empty. Public virtual int the order. This is important for when we want to set which of the modules we want to display first. That will be um, by the user. Public virtual bool, nope, bool enabled by default. It will be true. So now let's implement the execute async function that we define here at iModule. This one, no, execute async. Public async task of module result execute async. Okay, and now let's try adding the cancellation token equals default. Okay, let me check if we do something else. No, that's good. Let me make this smaller. Yes, so I can read more. So let's set the stopwatch equals to system dot diagnostics dot stopwatch, and start new. This will be starting a new stopwatch so we can measure or check the time that it's taking. Okay, so now let's try doing a try catch. So here the value will be get value async, and this is something that we will implement below. Cancellation token stopwatch dot stop. Okay, and then return the module result, create success, id, display name, value, and stopwatch dot time elapsed. Okay, let us return this. Okay, good. And if something goes wrong, exception ex, let's say stopwatch dot stop. Maybe we could put this in a finally statement. Well, not actually, because we need to, yeah, we need to let the user know how much did it uh, time it took before. Module result create, create error, and then let's pass the same id, home display name, the ex that message, the error message, and stopwatch that elapsed also. So what we're doing is it's trying executing the module asynchronously. We start a timer, then we try getting the value, and then we stop the timer. If all this go well, we create the success and pass the values here. If the try fails, we get an exception. We start the no, we stop the timer here, not start, and then we pass this stop here and the exception message here, so we can get the information. Okay, now let's implement the protect abstract task of string get value async cancellation token, yeah, cancellation token, and then let's also say protected and task of string from result string value. Let's do this task that from result, and then we pass the value here. Okay, nope, not value type, just value. And let me see. Okay, midnight storm. What we're trying to build, it's actually I'm trying to build a, let me show you. It is a kind of a clone of fastfetch. I'm trying to build it, to learn to trying to understand how fastfetch does the module system to add different, system info, hardware info, the memory usage. I want to let the user decide what he wants to show in whenever he displays the information. So right now, all of this, it's all mixed up. This is the same as this, and so the same as this. Okay, so these are just different output formats. The first format is this one. It's displaying all the information in panels. Then also displaying in this kind of tree. This is the simplest way, just inside a one panel. And the last one is with a left panel and all the information to the right. So right now I'm trying to build or implement the module system to let the user decide if he wants to only see maybe the system information, maybe only hardware information, or maybe remove status and environment from the output. What I'm doing right now is that I ask Claude using open code to please create us the plan and the code for all of this. I didn't ask it to actually implement the code because I want to do that. Even if I'm just, like reading and typing, I want to try to do it by myself, and then trying to explain to you guys so it kind of sticks to my mind what I'm doing. Also because on more advanced streams, we will be implementing something like testing, integration testing, also checking for the how much does it takes. I don't remember the name, like benchmarking. That's something cool that I would love to implement. I've never done it before, so yeah, I think that's in a nutshell what we're trying to do. Right now we're creating this abstract class for all the modules. We already typed and added this interface, which is the interface and metadata for every module. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're doing so far, and I think we're going good right now. So let me take a look at something, and I'll be back in just a few seconds. Okay, so we are here from result. Yes, get value async, and let me, yeah, change this. So this is an abstract implementation. We're not actually doing anything concrete. Maybe we will do that when we create the module class. So like a concrete implementation, you know. So from result, yep, it's getting the value. And let's create protected async task of string run async, and then we will be doing something like func string operation. We will pass, I think we will pass something like a lambda here, and then cancellation token equals default. Let me take a look. Oh, it is not doing something like that right now. And then just return await task dot run operation and cancellation token. Okay, I think we're done so far with this. And now we can move into the module implementations. So yes, let's add and create this first one, which will be CPU module.cs. This will be our first concrete implementation for the iModule and module base. Okay, so let's say something like namespace, sharp fetch, and modules. Now public class CPU module. This inherits from module base, and now we say public and we override the ID, and we pass our own ID for this one, which is CPU. Cool. Public override a string display name. Also, let's override this one. Display name modifier override is not valid for this item. Okay, why not? Let's check here. Abstract string ID, is this correct? Yes. And yep. Let's see, string display name. Okay, so why not? Fix all suppress. Okay, let me see if that goes away once we finish uh, adding more code. Public virtual string description string dot empty. Okay, and why is it complaining? Like it hides inherit member. Yeah, this is, oh, it is because I'm, yes, override string description. Yeah, so display name, and yeah, we got it here. Display name. No, I type it right. Abstract string display name. Okay, so nothing was wrong with ID, but for display name we're getting that complaint. Public override string ID CPU. Oh, yeah, I see. Okay, now let me do public override int order, and then say something like 10. Now it is capital O. Protected override task of string get value async. I was type Y for you, so I need to fix that, you know. Cancellation token. Yep, that's okay. And then let's return the run async. get CPU info and cancellation token. Okay, and then the get CPU info, it's actually this get CPU info. Okay, if the runtime information, the OS platform is equals to Windows, then we will return environment environment variable processor score identifier, and then the environment variable that environment variable target machine. Okay, it is this one. Yes, machine. If something of this it is null, let's return unknown. Let me put this in a new line, and then also this one. Okay, to try and make it more readable. So else if runtime information is OS platform or OS platform that if it's Linux, then so the CLI will be used to print information pretty much like a fast fetch clone. Let me show you this. Okay, actually, let me try uh, adding that to the chat. What we are trying to build is a fast fetch clone. Did I write it? Yes, with C sharp. Now let's just say just fast fetch clone, just for fun and learning purposes. Nothing more enjoyable than reinventing the wheel. At least for me, that's something that I have enjoyed so much. From coding. I know that most people and most developers on the social media say do never reinvent the wheel and stuff like that, but I find myself enjoying a lot more coding when I do something that I already know. I have also coded things that I maybe didn't existed or something like that, but I enjoy so much like doing something that I already know and try cloning it. I think that's something that really gets you to the next level when you are a beginner. So I do recommend that for you guys. So obviously, if you like, because I know there's people that will not like that. At least for me, that's something enjoyable. Frog and CPU info, and then let's say first or default, and then let's pass this lambda here. Well, all that starts with, and then the model name, and then we will be oops Yeah, yeah, I know. I also made AI to do it before, but as this is for learning purposes, I'm trying to, I did ask Cloud to generate this to me, but I didn't want it to like let it implement it by itself. I was thinking of, even if I'm just like reading and typing, I want to do it by myself. And like while I'm explaining to the audience, I think that maybe something will stick to me. So that's the reason why I'm doing it by, by hand, because I do know that I can tell Cloud to implement it, and it's gonna be like 10 times faster than I can ever be. Okay, so return line split, and then last trim. Okay, mm-hmm. Trim and unknown. You know what? Actually, for this, as it is pretty much the same, I'm gonna copy this and just paste it. I'm using Cloud Opus. I think it's Opus. No, I'm using Cloud Sonnet 4.5 from my GitHub Copilot subscription. I'm actually using open code for this. I find myself enjoying this a lot. Like I really like the interface. I used to do this inside VS Code using this guy, but I don't know. I don't like having so much open in one single window. I don't feel like it. So when I found out that I could use the CLI for this, I was like crazy. I enjoy it so much, and I haven't changed it. So yeah, I'm using open code Cloud Sonnet 4.5 with a GitHub subscription. I think if you have a Cloud subscription right now, you cannot use it, or you're pretty much restricted with open code. I think Cloud really wants you to use their CLI, and I know it's understandable. But at least for me right now, I'm pretty happy with this guy. I've been enjoying it a lot, and I can have more space here at VS Code. Okay, so we added the CPU module, and this is the memory module. Okay, I think for this we can create another class. This should be here inside. Yes, move please, and let's add the memory module.cs. Okay, again namespace and blah 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 blah, blah. Sharp edge that modules. Okay, why is it's not part of the workspace? Why it's saying that? I don't know. Memory and module base. Let me close this. Maybe something happened when I moved the file. Yeah, strange things happen on VS Code when you move files while you have them open. So that's why I closed it. Memory module, and let's make it inherit from module base. Public override string ID, and let's say make it return memory. Now public override string display name. Whoops, no. Yeah, snooze. No, thank you. Display name and say return memory. Again, public override string description. Let's say, whoops, RAM usage information. And I'm missing an I here. Display. You use Kate. What's that? I haven't heard of that. I also have tried, using Nvim. I had a lot of fun while doing a basic configuration, a basic setup, but I haven't practiced, motion and coping and then a lot of stuff that I have left. So maybe I can do that on a stream and it will be fun. But yeah, NVM for me it looks really cool. I hope that I can use it in the future. But for now, if I do it on stream, I think I'm gonna be like doing a mess. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at what you said, Kate, because as an old dev, I just stick with VS Code and I think nothing else. I haven't been like checking on new stuff lately. But thank you. I'm gonna give it a check. Public override. Oops, override and no override. Please int order 20. Okay. Now let's override the implementation for this function. Let's return a string from get value async cancellation token. Okay, get memory info. We will implement this below and then pass the cancellation token. So we keep this safe. Now let's say private string get memory info var sys info equals new sys info. Yeah, I think sys info that memory info to string. Okay. Yeah, we already have implemented this in the past. The sys info memory info. We go to get memory and then we do pretty much like what we did for a CPU. We check for our different OS and then we have specific methods to get memory from Linux and Windows. For example, for Windows, we have this. For Linux, we have something like this, calling the checking the files, meminfo. And for Mac OS, we run the system control and we check the memory size. Okay. So this has been implemented in the past. I think in the first or second stream we did for this application. And right now, okay, why is it complaining? Cannot change access modifiers. Okay, yes, public. It's not public. It's protected. Yep. This is for module base for memory module. Okay, this was pretty straightforward. Now let's go with GPU module. Nothing wrong with VS Code. Kate is pretty fun though. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna give it a check definitely. I really like to check in on new stuff, so I'm gonna go and check it out. So GPU module. Yeah, I think VS Code it's pretty good. Also for for job. I use it on my job, so I find it really cool. But yeah, I think as time goes, new stuff appear and like they get better and better. I remember uh when VS Code came up, like we were using Visual Studio, that heavy guy. We were using Atom and other kind of file, Notepad plus plus. And when VS Code arrived, it was like crazy. We were like all triggered and always trying to get new themes and tools, and it was something really cool. GPU, okay. Let's override the display name. So, um, let's say GPU, override string description. Nope, graphics card information. Yeah, maybe later I will have to work on this because I'm not doing it like I'm not taking any kind of consistent way of doing it. But I'm gonna have to fix that later. Public override int order, and let's say it's gonna be 30. Public override bool enabled by default. This will be true. Now let's override the get value async as we have done with all of our modules so far. Get value async, okay. Cancellation token, and then return run run async or get CPU info, and then cancellation token, okay. Now let's define the get CPU info below. Private string get CPU info, and then bar sys info equals new sys info. Now return sysinfo.gpu. No, just GPU. Okay. Okay. Again, pretty straightforward. Now let's move to our OS module. Okay. OS module.cs. Okay. Let's close this. Namespace, sharp and modules. Public class OS module and module base. Public override string ID. It's gonna be OS, and then public override string display name OS, and then let's add the I here. We because I don't know why it is auto completing without the I. Override string description operating system information, and then finally public override int the order, as this is the least one 5. Protected override task of string get value async cancellation token, the same, and then we return from result sys info that get OS name. Okay, so let's try and see why are we doing it this way. Like, we pass the string value and task from result value. Okay, it is just returning this, yeah, concurrently, and from here we get the OS name, which is this pretty much easy way of doing it. Just checking platform, and then we print it by hand, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, or on non OS. Okay. So now we're here at the module registry. Okay. Let me give it a check before we start coding. Yeah, this is the central registry for all available modules so far. We do some lazy loading. Okay. Discover modules, which will be this way. Yeah, I think we're using reflection here. Yes, we are. And then we register the modules, yada yada, get all modules, get enabled modules. I think this is quite good. And get module IDs. Okay, this is pretty straightforward and it's interesting to say the least. So give me just a few seconds again. This is gonna be quite a something to implement. So next to this, we have the module executor, which I think this will be the time that we want to implement it. I think it seems so. It seems so. Okay. And yes, I'm back. Module executor. Yeah. The constructor, we check for registry. If not, then we pass this. Sequential async. Okay. I think we can start with this, the module registry. Okay. Uh, modules registry. That's yes. Okay. Go to the right. Namespace. Fast fetch. Nope. Oops. Okay. Why is it complaining now? Oh, I'm sorry. It is sharp fetch modules and then public class module registry. Okay. Private read only a dictionary. Okay. So we're going to be storing everything, every module inside a dictionary. I like that approach. Underscore modules equals new and then static read only lazy module registry, the instance, yep, new module registry, and this is gonna be like this and close. Yep. Yeah, we're doing a lazy loading of the module registry here, creating a new module registry for when it is needed. Public static module registry, the instance, it's gonna be instance that value. Okay. And then a private constructor, private. And let's go inside discover modules. Okay. Now private void discover modules, and let me snooze this guy again because I don't want any auto completion from GitHub Copilot. No thanks. var module type equals type of imodule. Okay, is taking the type of imodule. Var modules, it's gonna be from the type of module registry. Okay, it's taken from the assembly of module registry, and then we check for that get types where, okay, yeah, we go into the registry of the module registry and we get the types where T is, it's a class, true, is abstract, yeah, because we want concrete implementations, we don't want the abstract class. That's why we created all of these concrete implementations just a few seconds ago. Module types that is assignable from T. Okay, and then from there, let us select the type and let's cast it to an I module activator that create an instance of the type. Okay, and this is not gonna be null. Then we will do this for all of the types that we get and we make it a list. Okay, so far it's pretty explanatory, self-explanatory from the code. For each var module in modules, we register all of the modules. Okay, register, no, the module. Okay, okay, so we discovered the modules. Going to the type of module, we get the assembly. We go to the assembly of module registry and we get types where the type is a class, it's not an abstract class, and it is assignable from T. Okay, we select all of the concrete implementations and we make it a list. We run a for each, and for each of those classes we register them in the modules. Okay, so now public void, let's implement register I module, oops, I module, yeah, underscore modules, the module dot id. This is a dictionary. Yep, it is pretty straightforward. We just say, yeah, pass me the module, and from the dictionary modules, I'm gonna insert the ID and pass the value. Okay, that's all of that is doing. It is not nothing that much complicated. I module nullable get module because it can be null because um, it not be registered or it may not be selected in the configuration. Target value from the ID. Then let's output that variable called module, and if that is true, module. If not, then null. Okay, so for here we get the module, we say pass me the ID. I'm gonna from the modules, I'm gonna try and get the value from the ID, like passing the ID as here, and then we pass that we created this instance here. If it exists, it's gonna be output and we call it module. If not, we return null. Okay, also Let's implement the get all modules. Yeah, public and enumerable of imodule all get all modules. Okay. Now let me check this, and yes. So get all modules, and this will be an enumerable of string, which will be the IDs. Let me remove this G from here, and then we will just run this query and say IDs that select the ID from get module that where that module is not null. Okay, we don't want any null modules, and then cast it into an imodule because we're gonna get a string back, not an imodule. Okay, and then order by m, whoops, m, m, please, order. Okay, okay, it is complaining here. So IDs select ID, get from get module, which is this one. It's gonna pass the ID, runs this, and then we only want the modules where the module is not null. Then cast it into a module, and then order by. Yes, the M order. The order, if you remember, it's the order for every module. Yeah, this one. So it's going to be sorting them by that order property. Okay. Now let us do this public enumerable of imodule, and then say get only enabled modules. Okay. From this, we want all of the modules, only not the ones that return null. And for this one, we will return all of the enabled modules. Module configuration, okay? We haven't yet created this, but we will. We will implement this in short. Configuration, okay? Config. And then if config dot modules dot any, if we have any configuration in our config object, then return the get modules, okay? Config that modules. If we get to have any configuration, any value in the configuration, if not, get all modules where the module is that enabled by default, okay? So if from our configuration we don't get any value, we want all the modules that are defined by default, okay? And this get all modules, why it is complaining, there is no argument that correspond to parameter IDs, blah blah, yada 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 yada. Okay, yes, that's right. If config that modules any, return get all get modules, okay? Okay, get modules, which is this one. No, 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 no. Get modules. get modules, and yes, this here, and then return get all modules where and blah yada 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 yada. Okay, but something it's saying it's complaining here. So you see, get all, get modules. Now we don't have any other. Uh, so this must be an error here. Okay, I think we can fix that later. If complete blah 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 yada yada. Public enumerable of a module get enabled modules and the configuration any value get the ones from the configuration, and if not, return all the modules. Okay, the issue is that we need the IDs here. Okay, let's see if we okay. Okay, let us implement this next one. Public enumerable of string get module IDs. Okay, and then let us return keys ordered by the key value, which will be an alphabetic order. Okay, the module executor. Okay, hmm. We really need this module configuration so far. For example, for this module executor, execute sequential async, parallel, and execute from config async. This one is quite good. Okay, this is really good. Configuration system. The here we have the configuration. Okay, module configuration. Yeah, this is the one that we need to get it implemented. Display configuration. This is the configuration loader and default config JSON schema. Okay, one minimal config, only CPU and memory. Okay, okay. We have been coding for an hour and a half. I think we will be stopping pretty soon. So let me continue with the next class. Okay, the registry, everything's okay. The module executor. Okay, this is gonna be inside modules also. Module executor .cs namespace sharpfetch and modules. Yep. Now public class module executor private read only module registry, and then this will be registry, please. This is a constructor. No, CTOR. Oh my god, CTOR. Okay, public module executor module registry. This will be an nullable value for the registry equals null as default, and then the registry will be equals to registry, and if this is null, then the module registry, yeah, this will be equal to the module registry instance. Okay, now we can go and do public async um, task of I read only list of module result. Okay, we will get the result from trying to run every module that we define. Se- Sequential async. Okay, then we pass I enumerable of I module and then modules. Okay, cancellation token. Nope. Cancellation token. Cancellation token equals default. Close this. We open brackets, but results, new list of module result. No. And for each module in no module in the list of modules we have, we get the result from each of them, execute async, we pass the cancellation token, and we add to the results, and we return that list of results. Okay, so we can know if everything goes well or get any kind of error message if not. So now let's go public async task of I read only list of module result like the one above, and then execute parallel async. Okay, and then we do enumerable of a module, the modules, and cancellation token again. Cancellation token equals default, close and open brackets. I think we can close this or remove this bracket. Yep. We get tasks from the list of modules. We select the module, execute async, and then pass the cancellation token. We do this for all of the modules in the list, and when then we get the results. Task that when all when everything has been done. Okay, for the tasks, and finally return results that order by the result first m no m.id equals to the result module ID. Then from this we get the order, and from this we make it a list. Okay, to list. And finally, let's do this one, which will be public async of task I read only list of module result again, execute from configuration config. Okay, async execute from configuration. Okay, module configuration config, then the cancellation token equals default. Okay, no, yeah, open brackets, And then from this, we get the modules from the registry, get enabled modules from the configuration, and then we return the config. Sorry, guys, I had to cough. Config parallel execution. And then if this is true, execute parallel async from modules. And then, no, modules, okay? And then pass the cancellation token. If this is false, then execute sequential async again from modules and cancellation token. So basically that is it. Mm-mm. Let me take another look at something. Okay, yeah, semicolon here. Now let's go for configuration system. And for this, let us create another folder, configuration. Okay, and this is gonna be called sharp fetch configuration.cs. Okay, no, but this one is gonna be configuration here. Okay, also modules registry must be inside modules, and module executor the same. Let's close these guys here and go to this. So namespace sharp fetch, and then no, this is not module, this is configuration. Okay, and then public class sharp fetch configuration. Okay, we say public module configuration modules getter setter, and then we create a new instance for this. No, drop display configuration, and then display equals new. We are creating new values for this. Here we create another class called module configuration. Okay, and let us create this prop list of string called modules equals new. Oops, again prop bool parallel execution equals true. Int is timeout in milliseconds. This is gonna be a default value of 5,000 for 5 seconds. Bool show execution time. Okay, so this is whether if we want to show the time that it took on execution. Okay, and then now let's go and create display configuration, public class, display configuration. Let's say prop for string format, and this is the value panels. This is the default so far. Prop bool show icons, and this is gonna be true. Prop string and color scheme default. Yeah, later we can create different color schemes as here it uh, as it recommends here, monochrome, rainbow default. That's cool. And now bool, maybe we can later extract this because maybe this can be just for the memory and disk space, because we don't need this value for every single um for every single property. So now let's go for the configuration loader here inside. Also configuration, let's say configuration loader.cs. Okay, let's make this small and say namespace um again, sorry. This should be sharp fetch. I'm sorry. Configuration, yes. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking, so if I get slow, I'm sorry. So now we do have to add a new NuGet package. So let's say .NET add new, no, package, which will be Microsoft dot extensions dot configuration. Okay. So let's see if everything goes well. Yada 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 yada. Okay, I think we're gonna have a few of issues here because we are having the version 10 and we are using .NET 9. So um, I think if I open my terminal here, I have something like blah yada no NuGet configuration. Okay, I think I can check for it here. Yes, and no, I think it wasn't there. Oh, here. Yeah, I think we want no. Let me see if now we have the version 9. Yes, 9014. Okay, that's because we are using .NET 9. Maybe it doesn't make any kind of error, but for now I want to stick to a same version. Okay, later we can even upgrade the whole application to use .NET 10. That's not an issue, but for now I just want to keep it simple. Configuration loader, and then private constant string default config file name equals config.json. Okay. Maybe we can also later check for another way of doing this because sharp fetch.json, because I'm not sure if this is like the way of going for it. Okay, for this configuration. Anyways, public static sharp fetch configuration, let's say load. It's gonna be loading this string of arrays, which will be the arguments equals null. Let's put this below down here, and then string also a nullable string of custom config what custom config path equals null. Okay, and then we can open brackets, curly braces, sorry, var builder dot no equals new configuration builder. Okay, and then we can say, so it's adding the default embed configuration if you have one. Builder dot a JSON file, default config JSON, optional true. Okay, yeah. Then var user config path equals path that combine environment dot get folder path environment special folder, and then user profile. Yep, this is cool. Now user config file name, and then we can put this in a line. Yes. So if the file that exists, if this file exists, the user config path, then the builder will add that JSON file, user config path. Okay, and the optional it's nope, optional. That's gonna be true. Okay, so configuration builder. Okay, so maybe there can be an error here. hmm We got build, we got add, an I configuration source. Okay, yeah, maybe this changed on this last version, so maybe I will have to give this a check offline, as it seems, because it is complaining right now. It is saying that it does not contain any configuration builder. Okay, and then yes, and yes. Okay, so now says builder that JSON file if this exists, right? Yes. User config path builder that JSON file. Okay, let's continue. If string is null or empty for custom config path and file that exists for custom config path, okay, custom config path, and then optional will be no, will be false. Okay. Okay, so again, it is checking if the custom config path is it's null, but uh, the file exists, then we'll add this same file with but with the optional false. Okay. Now also checking for line arguments, command line arguments. If it is not null and the args that length is greater than zero, builder that add command line arguments. Okay, for configuration, builder.build. Okay, that's easy. New sharper configuration, and then configuration bind to the config. Okay, and then we return the config. Finally, and now we create, yes, a function static void create default config file, which contains the path to that file. And I'm gonna actually copy this one. I'm actually tired of being typing all this time, so let's go through it. Let's go through each line. So it's declaring a default config variable from the sharpedge configuration. It initializes the module from module configuration. It's gonna take the module from creating this new list of string. These values are true. Okay, so it is instantiating or initializing a basic default configuration file. Okay, show icons. Okay, maybe there's a typo here because we do have icons. Okay, yeah, show icons here. True, color scheme default, and show charts equals true. System text JSON, JSON serialize, write intended true, and file write out text to path JSON. Okay, so far we have all of the configuration files now ready. I do have to check this JSON file, add command line, and bind, because it seems that okay, yeah, please change that, because it seems that configuration actually is missing those methods. So I'm gonna give it a check offline. So far, guys, I'm gonna show you again how the application is going. So right now I'm printing everything in one go. I'm not doing it like separately. I am printing the system information here in panels. This is the default, let's say, output format. We're gonna also support this kind of format, this tree format. This is the simplest one, just inside one panel, information side to side. And finally, having a left panel and the information to the right. So in the next session, I hope that we can start visualizing again the application, because right now we created the modules, all of these module classes, the module interface, which we're going to be using, also the abstract module, module base class, which is the base along with the interface for the CPU module, GPU module, and all of these different modules. Then the idea is to get the configuration from a JSON file, so we can register the modules from the JSON file. Okay, if the user actually has that JSON file configured or existing, we're gonna be implementing that from there. So I think that's pretty much doable in the next session. So far, I think we had a great advance. We had really good progress. I'm gonna be trying to check the code offline, and I'm gonna check if I can push it. If I get to make it work, or at least make the errors go away, I can push this code to GitHub, and then I can explain what I did in the next session, or maybe I can put a file in an empty file explaining what was the issue with this JSON file, command line, bind. Also, here with the, well, here I think I can remove this using this, but actually I get modules. Okay, these modules, it's a list of string, and this, yeah, for example, I think these are small errors that actually um Claude made. For example, calling here the get all modules, but not passing the list of string IDs. Also here from get module, the same. Here it asks us for an ID, but here we are passing um, a list of IDs, as you can see. So I think I can be fixing that, or even better, I can ask Claude to actually implement those fixes, just those fixes, not doing anything else. Okay, so thank you for being here, guys. This was a pretty good session. I hope that I can stream later. If I do, I'm gonna be publishing that on YouTube. So go to YouTube and subscribe so you can know when it's gonna be my next stream. If not, I hope tomorrow or Monday I can continue. Today was a pretty hard day, but I'm excited. I think we're in good motion for us to get having this module system, having the configuration. Those are the trickiest parts because later we're gonna be having more fun because we're gonna go back to the UI. So let me check what we had on PlanMD, I think. Yes. So this is our log for day one, two, three. Day four was last time I streamed on last week. It was a pretty tough day also. We just got to do the different formats, panels, trees, and left panel. And these are the formats. I think for today, we can say that we planned and implemented half of the configuration with JSON files. Uh, and we also planned and implemented this. Oh, no, not this one. Well, the module system, which was the hardest part, is now working. So, guys, go to YouTube. Well, you're in YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Also, you can go to my blog, Unit Coding. You can go to my GitHub and follow and also start the project because I'm gonna continue working on it. As you can see, we have gone 4 days already. This is day five. Not all days are good days, but I promise that we're not gonna be like giving up. We're gonna get this application, even if it's not what we expect, but I'm gonna get this application to finish, to be done and to be in a usable way. um, it is intended to be a practice sessions for me, to be learning, to be applying new cool stuff like testing. Guys, I'm sorry, I think that I've been speaking all this time and I didn't have my microphone in the other scene. Oh my god. Okay, I was telling you in a brief that we have gone through 4 days, and not all of them had been good days. As you can see, day four was pretty tough, but at last we achieved to do something. Today we achieved something really good, a good milestone. Implementing the module registry. Yes, we have errors, but anyways, we can still be working on this in the next session. Um, Subscribe to YouTube so you know when it's next stream. I hope to be streaming today later. If not, maybe tomorrow or Monday. But keep posted on that. I'll keep you posted, guys. Also, go to my GitHub. You can check the project here. Go to OSimple Sharpfetch. This is my profile. Here you can see my projects. I don't have anything quite that good. Just I think this is one of the best things that I've been doing lately. So Sharpfetch, you can check when I push the code here. Remember to star and fork if you want to implement or create your own implementation of this. And subscribe to YouTube. Go to my blog, Unit Coding. Also, I have a blog, so you can go and check it out. Let me show you. I think it's something like unitcoding.com. Yep. You can check something like this to do application that I worked in the past. I think this is also a good one. I really enjoy doing a lot of UI. So if you want something that you can put your hands on, this is a Blazor application. I did a lot of a lot of UI. I'm sorry, and it was pretty cool. But anyways, if not, there are also API, REST API services tutorials that you can check. Um, Here that I created this kind of a Google clone, Google Translate clone, um, login, database seeding, this image generator with Blazor that I did like 3 years ago. It's been quite some time. Also, this Pokédex application with Blazor that I did when I first started this blog. It's been quite some time. So, guys, thank you for being here. Remember to stay tuned because we're gonna continue working on this application, and I really hope that we can finish it and implement new stuff like new stuff for me like integration testing, benchmarking. I would love to pack this application to Docker or maybe even create it as a NuGet package, something like that. No, not NuGet package, but a Winget package. Yeah, so you can use it. I don't promise it to be super fast or performant. It is a fun project that I've been working on, just to stop feeling that I'm stuck or feel some progress at least and discover and work on things that normally on my day-to-day job I don't have time to. So thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you being here. It's been 2 hours, 2 hours of good work, of good progress. Keep posted as we will continue working on this application. Thank you and see you in the next one. Peace out.